Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in live today for our webinar, How Heyday Group Unlock the Power of Digital Quality Assurance. I'm just going to give everyone another 30 seconds or so to join before we get started, so just bear with us. Got a few more coming in. Alrighty. Okay, so welcome everyone to today's webinar, How Heyday Group Unlocked the Power of Digital Quality Assurance. My name is Jess. I'm part of the team at CONQA, Construction Field Management Software. So I'll be hosting today's session. But before we get started, I'd just like to run through a couple of general housekeeping points, and then I'll hand it over to our lovely speaker. So first of all, I just want to double check that everyone can hear me. If you could please let me know just by typing in the chat box, that would be great. Yep, perfect. Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Dan. Excellent. We've got a few more coming through. Awesome. All right. Hopefully that is all good, everyone. So our webinar today will be running for about 40 minutes. So we're going to have a presentation followed by a Q&A. We will be recording the session and you'll receive a copy of the recording later this week. You'll notice your microphones have been muted. That's just to limit interruptions throughout the presentation. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box. Feel free to chuck them in during the presentation and then we'll hopefully be able to get to them by the end. So without further ado, let's get into it. So it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to today's speaker, Brett Lavarato, New South Wales Construction Manager from Heyday Group. So Brett's been working with Heyday since 2004 within New South Wales and ACT. Having worked his way up through the business, he's now New South Wales Construction Manager. So today, Brett's going to be sharing their quality assurance journey with us. Brett, again, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Over to you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for that introduction. Hello and welcome to everyone that's joined us today. Thanks for giving us the time. I'll go through some of the key points that we're going to cover over today in the presentation. Just a bit of an agenda today of what we're going to be covering, who we are, as in who Heyday is, some of the key drivers for the change that CONQA's had on our business. Some of the considerations that we had to make when, I suppose, making such a big change to our business. Some of the hurdles we had to overcome, stakeholder involvement, improvements to our business, what our future looks like, summary, and then some questions at the end. So I'll ask if anyone's got any questions, just hold fire until the end. And yeah, happy to answer any questions that anyone might have on Heyday's journey with CONQA, where we're at and where we sort of see the future going with it. So an introduction to myself and Heyday, just gave a brief introduction. I've been with the business since 2004. I started as an apprentice electrician with the company. Heyday is a 45-year-old business that operates primarily in the Tier 1 construction space of New South Wales and ACT only. We cover a vast range of market sectors in construction that range from infrastructure projects to data centres to commercial office towers, multi-storey residential and retail type projects. We understand what it takes to deliver high quality product for our client, and that demand nothing short of that. So that's a bit of an introduction to what Heyday do. next, covering off some of the key drivers that we needed to adapt to our business for our QA processes. As our industry has evolved at a rapid rate, we're seeing a greater shift, even more so in the last 5 years, particularly with some of the large government funded projects forging the way. They demand high requirements for compliance and quality documentation and submission. So as a business, for us, we needed to be flexible to our industry market sectors to adapt to project requirements. So as such, we sort of needed to change our attitude and culture to successfully deliver these types of projects with confidence that are now sort of at our doorstep. We're a business that doesn't skim over details. We place a large importance on delivering a quality project, although some of the reporting structure and completion document has so significantly changed over the way we do business over the years. Nobody's ever looking for a system that fully recreates how we do things. But I suppose for our business, we had to make a shift to how we delivered our QA and commissioning records. So we sort of looked at CONQA because it seemed simple at the time and it was adaptive to the way we currently do things. And I don't think it was ever going to be sort of easy to make any changes to such a large old business like ours. Were there any considerations? So initially we implemented CONQA on a small data center project because we thought that'd be the best option for our business to sort of dip our toes into a automated QA system. Although we found that on that project, it didn't get the attitude shift that we needed as a business to completely shift our focus on how we deliver the QA and commissioning. So we sort of didn't put CONQA on ice, but it didn't sort of have the effect that we expected it would have. We decided then to roll CONQA onto probably our largest project that we're delivering at the moment, which is the Western Sydney Airport job. I suppose it was not easy to adopt on the project, but it was more accepted on the job because we had a larger completions team that were delivering the QA and commissioning for the project. And it was also a lot easier to track the amount of, volume of quality and commissioning documents that we needed to on the job, and to be able to monitor actually where we were on the job and where we're at any single point in time. So our business previously, like to CONQA, we would have a paper-based system, like most businesses probably currently do. Being a 45-year-old business, that's not uncommon. The paper-based system works. It doesn't not work, but I think with the sheer volume of documents and records and tracking that's required on some of these large government projects, I don't think a paper system is any benefit to any business. So we didn't really want to fully change the basis of what we were doing, but we just wanted to change how we were doing it and how we were getting the documentation from site onto our trackable automated system. So we would normally have someone have to, enter all of our commissioning records into a tracker if we wanted to monitor our status and progress on the project. But with CONQA, we don't need to have that resource to do that because the data is coming directly live from the site. So on the Western Sydney Airport job, at any point in time, we can hit refresh on a tracker and see what percentage complete, and we can actually watch progress and show our clients progress on the job. Some of the hurdles that we faced along the way. So in order to implement CONQA into our business, we needed to keep things as simple as possible through the transition. As I said previously, we didn't want to modify what we do, but just wanted to adjust how we did things and how the data is handled. One of the biggest parts of the quality and commissioning documentation on our projects is a setup. For an electrical contractor, we have such a large quantum of items in our scope that need to be, I suppose, signed off from a quality and commissioning standpoint, like switchboards and submains and distribution boards and sub-circuit cables and devices and things like that. So for us, the importance on the setup of the QA and commissioning records from the get-go is paramount to the success of implementing this system. That being said, we investigated, a number of options for automated systems before we came across CONQA, but we found that CONQA was the most flexible to adapt to what we needed to for our business. Very flexible, very movable. A lot of the other systems out there, you sort of, once you set something up or start something, you can't make any changes to them. But we found that CONQA has been brilliant in terms of the setup from the start is very quick, very easy, and also flexible to make any changes along the way. I'm not going to sort of sit here and say that making this change to our business has come easy, because it hasn't. You need buy-in from everyone. You need buy-in from your senior management, and you also need buy-in from your people on the ground that are going to actually use this day in and day out. So we continue to tweak the system and tailor this to what Heyday needs, and that's more from a tracking standpoint. And the guys at CONQA have been brilliant in terms of making changes and taking advice from our guys on the ground about how we can have better visibility of the data, the live data coming back from site, so we can share that information and track how everything's going. For example, on the Western Sydney Airport, we're sort of running a team of about 200, just carrying out the electrical and communications scope. So at any one time, I can sort of just log on and hit a refresh button and see percentages complete each day, and sort of watch the needle go up as sort of the time goes on. So CONQA, from that standpoint, has been extremely workable with Heyday to tailor the system to what our needs are. How are all the stakeholders involved? So in CONQA in our business means that we can now provide live updates on progress to both our internal senior management and our client representatives at a click of a button. We're able to give confidence to our clients that works are progressing and that we are the ones in control, and we're truly understanding where we're at and where the project is. So previous to that, I mentioned before that we had a paper-based system, literally would have to have someone manually each week punching in commissioning records into a tracker and creating our own sort of Excel tracker as we go, to give our clients sort of visibility and our senior management visibility of how far progressed we are. Now, with an automated system, we no longer need to spend time and money tracking that manually. Improvements capturing real-time data. So we're still considerably new to CONQA, but I believe that we have the right team in place that understands the value and benefit of the tool, that can deliver and make their lives easier. So in terms of our, I suppose, younger sort of management team coming through the ranks in our business, this is going to be something that's going to be adopted across all our projects. Now we've rolled it out across the Western Sydney Airport and a couple of our data center projects. I think getting buy-in from the younger guys coming through is sort of important for our business, because it just shows them how they can do things more productively, and and make everyone's life easier so they can focus on some of the more, I suppose, more demanding sort of tasks rather than having to spend so much time getting paper copies and records from site into the office. Our project management and coordination teams are responsible to direct and drive the quality and commissioning process submission. So in our case, all of the training for CONQA is done from our sort of coordination and management team onto our site teams to show them how to input the data onto CONQA. The product provides management and integration data so that we're not undertaking each task multiple times. It allows flexibility and hold points for internal reviews to add to the process. So, what does the future look like with CONQA at Heyday? So we're committed to growth and development. Our business wants to be at the forefront of technology and implementing product that improve the quality and efficiencies of what we do. For us, it's about teamwork and ideas from the ground. I like to think that Heyday has a working environment that allows a collaborative workplace, which enables us all to improve. If people are willing to listen and adopt the changes, it'll benefit the company and continue to succeed. So, in summary, we could see the reasons to implement change to our business. The industry's changing, so we wanted to be ahead of the curve, ensuring that we found a solution that works within our existing framework. Getting buy-in from our teams is critical, and acknowledging the hurdles and working together to get past them. The power of real-time communication and capturing real-time data. So that's the presentation. I suppose for us as a business, CONQA, it's enabled us to take our business to the next step. As I said in the start, we're a 45-year-old business. We've got a lot of systems in place that work, and they will always work, but it's just adjusting them to get the most out of what our guys do and how we do it. I think we all in the room, not speaking for everyone, but can agree that the industry is getting harder. It's getting more challenging. People expect information quicker. People expect answers immediately. People always want to know where we're at any point in time. I think some of the systems that we had in place would always do that, but it's just a more laborious way to get, I suppose, the answers for people out of the documentation that we had. CONQA is, I can't speak highly enough of a trackable system, to be honest, because I know as a senior manager at Heyday, we always want, I suppose, a high level overview of where all our jobs are at. And I look after all of construction in New South Wales. So I want to be able to ask a project manager on one of our jobs, what percentage are you complete through your QA? What percentage is your roughing complete? And be able to get answers on the go. So I suppose from a senior management standpoint, if you've got a system in place that is across all of your projects, it gives you better visibility and knowledge, and a high level overview of all your projects and where they're at. So for us at Heyday, it's been tested out on a couple of projects now. We're just starting to roll it out across more of our jobs, and we'll continue to do so until we have rolled it out across all of our projects. I don't have anything else to add on to the presentation. If anyone has got any questions for Jess or myself, I welcome them to come forward.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Brett. That was really valuable insight into Heyday and how you guys have implemented CONQA. I have actually just had a question come directly through to me, so we'll get started with that one. And anyone else, if you do have any questions that you'd like to send through to Brett or myself, we can, either answer them here or offline. But yeah, please feel free to add them into the chat box. So we've just had a question come through from Ben. Brett, I do know that you touched on this briefly in your presentation, but Ben's asking if you can tell us more about how you got internal key stakeholders on side when you initially decided to make the move to using software to help with your QA. How did you get them to listen, and how long was it before everyone was aligned on the change? Do you have any tips for us who are struggling with this?
That's a pretty good question. I suppose fortunately for our business that I sort of get to make a lot of those decisions for my division or for New South Wales Construction. So I didn't have a lot of convincing to do, just a couple of directors. But I think the selling point was really the sheer volume of information that needed to be handed over, or does need to be still handed over at the Western Sydney Airport project. I think if you sat down and look at like the number of, I suppose, commissioning and QA documents that need to be delivered, I just think it's unmanageable based on our sort of what system that we had in place currently. So it was almost like an easy sell to select an automated system for that project because of the high volume of documentation that's required to be delivered on that job. So, but I understand that it is sometimes difficult to shift the attitude of, we've had a system in place for 45 years and it's worked now and it will always work. But I suppose it's just about, if you want to be a business that does some of these high profile big jobs and you want to continue to develop your business in the future, I suppose it's a matter of having people in your business that are on board with change and developing your business so that you're accepting to change and that you're not going to be sort of a rock that's not willing to move. You just need to be able to evolve with the industry, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add on to Brett's answer, obviously, bringing on a completely new software, moving across to a brand new system can definitely be really difficult. But part of the service that we offer at CONQA is, in-depth training with all of the team. So, we can run as many training sessions as needed. We've got a lot of really awesome support articles and a really excellent support team as well. So we're kind of there to kind of hold your hand through that initial process, and continue to support you, as you continue to grow with CONQA and implement it across all of your processes. So yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind. Alrighty, I think we've had a couple more come through. John, you're asking about sharing your monitoring graphs with us. Been working on this given we oversee 20 plus projects with multiple work fronts. John, we might take that one offline if that's all right. Definitely would love to show you some of our tracking matrices and that sort of thing and how you can get a snapshot of how projects are progressing. So definitely I'll reach out to you after the webinar and yeah, we can chat more about that if that's all right. Danny, we've had a question come through from you. This one might be for you, Brett. Can you please talk more about how many / the type of resources that you were able to roll off after implementing CONQA?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. Thanks, Danny. I suppose from a site standpoint, for us and the way we, I suppose, do our QA checks and our commissioning checks, there's no difference for us in terms of taking, say, a commissioning record off a cable and writing it down on a piece of paper or entering it straight into an iPad onto CONQA. So from a site standpoint, there's no shift in what actually gets done on the ground in terms of the physical work. The time saving is in that information coming from site into the office and being, I suppose, stored on the cloud almost immediately. You'd probably know that like guys on site are horrible for keeping documentation and trying to track them down to get that piece of paper to then enter it. So you might have 2 or 3 weeks worth of commissioning results that are getting done from site, and it might take that time to get them back up to the office and then entered into a tracker. For us, we have now, I suppose, some like coordination type people in our business that are monitoring and making sure that the jobs are getting done on the site, rather than actually physically getting the piece of paper and then entering it into a tracker. So there's definitely a saving in terms of resource that you don't have a physical person collecting the data from site and then entering it into a tracker, and then the manual then scanning the documents in and then uploading and creating a document, etc. There's a physical saving in a person there, but it's more, I suppose, just the reliability of getting consistent regular data from the site back to the office and then to your client, so you can I suppose you don't have any issues with visibility of that you're making progress on the job. So in terms of resourcing, you'll be able to roll off. It's more about the resource that you don't have to have, and the human error that you potentially don't have to have, physically monitoring the old paper-based system. That's probably how I'd answer that question for our business, essentially. Yeah.
Awesome. No, thanks so much for that, Brett. Danny says thank you as well, if you didn't see that. Look, I think we don't have any other questions to get through for the time being, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's session now. I just wanted to give you, Brett, a huge thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. We really appreciate you sharing your journey with us all. A reminder again that there will be a recording of this webinar sent out this week. Our contact details will be on that email as well. So if you do have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to, take you through a demo of the platform, answer any sort of questions you have around CONQA or anything like that. So yeah, definitely don't be scared to reach out. We'd love to chat with you. But apart from that, thanks everyone for tuning in today. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks, everyone.